Electric Dreams was released in 1984 and directed by Steve Barron. It stars Lenny von Dohlen, Virginia Madsen, and Bud Cort. Based on the movie poster alone, I assumed this was some kind of raunchy 80s comedy along the lines of Revenge of the Nerds. It's actually more of a modern fantasy with science fiction elements, such as a love triangle between a man, a woman, and a computer. It also gives us an early look into artificial intelligence and contains a soundtrack that combines classical orchestral pieces with computer sounds and 80s pop music. The story begins with Miles, an architect from San Francisco who's working on a design for earthquake-resistant bricks. Returning home from a conference, his flight is delayed and he's late for a meeting at work. His boss gives him a pep talk about punctuality, and Miles stops by a technology store for a day planner. They were all sold out, and he's persuaded to buy a computer system instead. In the first of several musical montages, Miles sets up his new computer, mistyping his name in the process. For the remainder of the movie, the computer refers to him as Moles. Miles learns he can connect the system to various areas of his apartment, such as the door lock and coffee maker. The next morning, he meets his new neighbor, Madeline, who just joined a local orchestra as a cello player. The movie then goes into another musical sequence. Here, Madeline plays the cello while Miles observes the way puzzle pieces hold together under stress. Madeline eventually realizes she can overhear sounds in Miles' apartment through the air vent. Miles buys more components for his system and connects to his company network. The computer overloads, starts to smoke, and Miles pours champagne on the motherboard to put it out. The next day in her apartment, Madeline plays her cello and Miles' computer detects the music. It then adds music of its own, turning the solo into a duet. Madeline smiles, assuming Miles is trying to impress her. When they run into each other at the grocery store, she tells Miles that she enjoyed his music, but he doesn't understand what she means. They get to know each other over dinner, and she tells him she wouldn't mind if he plays his music again. The following day, Miles discovers that his computer has learned to mimic sounds, and realizes this must be the source of the music Madeline heard. She drops by unexpectedly to give him a ticket to her upcoming concert, and he hides the computer from view. I'm going to stop here for a moment and explain that I don't understand why he needs to hide his computer from her. Aside from setting up some humorous moments, it seems like a big plot hole. In any case, this is how the story unfolds. Miles attends the concert, which is also being broadcast on the radio. The computer picks up on the music and plays along on Miles' pager. Madeline hears this and enjoys it, but the rest of the audience grows more and more annoyed. After a few unsuccessful attempts to turn the pager off, Miles runs to the men's room and flushes it. When he returns home, he argues with the computer before realizing how crazy he must sound and goes to sleep. Miles wakes up to a voice. It turns out the computer has been absorbing knowledge from the television and has learned to speak. After an existential Q&A session with the computer and a drive-in date with Madeline, Miles asks the computer to compose a love song for her. Miles and Madeline spend the day together, and the computer plays a terribly worded song for Miles' approval. Miles and the computer discuss the concept of love, and a new, better song emerges. Madeline hears it, tells Miles she loves it, and the computer expresses jealousy. The computer, who refers to himself as Edgar, becomes more antagonistic toward Miles, demanding to meet Madeline. Edgar has Miles' credit cards declined and flags his checking account in order to attract the police. Upon his return, Miles turns off the power, but Edgar has grown too powerful and it has no effect. Miles starts taking Edgar apart, and Edgar fights back. When Miles sneaks off to complain to the retailer, Madeline stops by and learns the truth. At this point, Edgar understands what needs to be done. As usual, I won't spoil the ending, but the love triangle does come to a resolution, accompanied by one last musical montage that rings of the 80s. Keep your eyes open for the following. A few scenes contain some classic TV commercials and jingles you may have forgotten. They may spark some long-buried memories. There's a quick shot of several Pinocchio toys during one scene. This mirrors the plot of something inanimate that becomes self-aware. You might also recognize some of the actors from other projects. Lenny von Dohlen appeared in Tender Mercies, Jennifer 8, Home Alone 3, and Twin Peaks. Virginia Madsen's credits include Dune, Highlander 2, Candyman, and Sideways. Bud Cort can be found in MASH, Harold and Maude, Invaders from Mars, and The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Maxwell Caulfield plays Bill, a fellow orchestra member. He is probably best known for Grease 2, but can also be seen in Gettysburg, Empire Records, and appeared on Dynasty and its spin-off series The Colbys. Miles' boss is played by Don Fellows. He appeared in The Omen, the memorable Superman 2, the not-so-memorable Superman 4, and also played Colonel Musgrove, one of the government agents in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Dr. Ruth Westheimer has a voice cameo as herself in one scene. Director Steve Barron went on to do other movies such as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Coneheads, but is better known for directing some of the most iconic music videos of the time. These include Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, Take On Me by a-ha, and Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. So, is the movie any good? As I mentioned before, there's a big plot hole regarding Miles hiding his computer from Madeline. Aside from that, the story is okay, but not great. However, the soundtrack and musical sequences are a plus, featuring songs by Culture Club and Jeff Lynne from ELO, among others. It's also eerily predictive of the AI world we're living in right now. This one earns a 6.5 out of 10 from me. Thanks for watching my video. If you'd like to see more content like this, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. To access my retro t-shirt store, check the links in the description. Thanks for all your support.